What up, guys? Welcome to the Just Pearly Things YouTube channel. Today, I have a special guest on the sit down. His name is Dimitri. He is the founder and owner of LGFG Fashion House, who makes men's and women's luxury suits, and also has a really cool program where you train men on how to be better men. Is that a good way to say it?
Well, yeah, because like part of our company's tenet, we're not like a retail in traditional sense. We have salespeople that visit our clients around the world in about 27 countries. So we have full-time like on-the-ground offices like here in London, all across Europe and Canada and Hong Kong, in Dubai. Like, so we're global. And our salespeople call on the top 1% of men, primarily men. We do have some women as well. And we go to their homes and offices and we sell them their most luxurious custom suits and related apparel.
And you have worked with the likes of Jordan Peterson.
Yes.
You mentioned some really big celebrities that are you allowed to say? Or no?
Sure. So the ones I can say, obviously. I was on set for the Skyscraper movie, which was a big movie that The Rock was in. So we did 12 suits, 12 bespoke suits for that movie. That was a really fun project. The 12 Suits for Life, which is the collection we made for Jordan. I didn't go out and like promote and say, look, we made this. But when JP went on the Rogan podcast, started talking about it, because people are asking about that heaven and hell suit, which was just so much fun to create, and like just what a great guy. Right now I'm delivering a big collection for your friend Zuby, for Kevin Sorbo. Been working with him for a long time. That's Hercules, for those of you guys who don't know. Eddie Hall's got a huge collection coming. Right now my president is flying to LA to deliver a suit to Russell Peters, the comedian Michael Franzese. He's getting some stuff from us. That's the Columbo Family guy. He's amazing. Frank Mir, really excited. This is not even public yet. Oh, well, Alice Cooper is a big one for us. We're just doing some very big rock stars right now, so it's pretty cool.
And it's really cool because this is a multi-million-dollar brand that you created from nothing, and you came from, you said the Soviet Union?
Yeah.
Okay, can you tell me a little bit about your background?
So I was born in Kiev in the USSR. So it's actually really funny that happened, like the way that the mind shift has happened in like society is everybody always called me like a Russian guy, even though I was from Ukraine.
Okay.
And now it's like, see, I told you.
Why don't you have an accent?
Why? Because I was 9 years old when I moved.
Really?
Yeah, I was 9.
And you still had no, I'm surprised you don't have a little
Russian's
bit.
my first language.
Really?
Yeah, Russian's my first language.
Your English is perfect.
Well, because it's now it's my native language now, because that's what I grew up, like I finished high school, university, everything,
Yeah.
I grew up in Vancouver, and then so I lived in the Soviet Union until '92, and then the Soviet Union collapsed, and we got on an airplane with a suitcase, and there was a rule when you left the Soviet Union. So they said, look,
and you were 9.
I was 9.
Did you have siblings or
no? Just me.
Just you.
Me,
and
mom, and dad.
Okay, you.
And the rule was you're allowed 1 suitcase per family.
Okay.
And $50 US to leave.
Wow.
Because they made it really like Soviets.
You were 9 years old.
Correct.
Were you like? Was it scary for you? Did you know what was going on?
No idea. So my parents didn't tell me we were leaving the country forever until the day we left. Because because there was a big risk of being robbed. So what would happen is, like, if you're telling people, oh, I'm going to North America, and it's like, cool, and then they would just like come and rob you, because it's like the Soviet Union. It's 90s were wild at that time. It was just mafia and corruption and like inflation. It was just like a crazy place to be, right?
Wow.
So my dad, I remember, he's like, hey, we're going to stay at grandma's house. I'm like, it's Wednesday, but okay. And then we got there. It was like Wednesday night. He's like, hey, tomorrow we leave for Moscow. I'm like, where are we going? He's like, we're moving to Canada. And I was just like, what's happening? Canada to me is like an imaginary place, because back then you didn't have the like internet. You didn't have hundreds of channels on TV. We had 3 TV channels. They're all Soviet propaganda, government channels, right? So I don't know anything about the outside world. Like the world that I live in, and the Soviet Union '92 versus like let's say Canada, there was about a 30-year gap in development. So everything that the Canadians and Americans had in '92, right? That was like the Soviet Union was what North America had in the '60s.
Wow.
Like the technology, like we had the road, the dial-y phone with the big ringy thing. We had to call the operator sometimes to connect us. Like nobody in the 90s did that. So it was just like a very strange experience, obviously, because at the time it was like a different planet.
And was it traumatizing to you? Like, I mean, I'd imagine you had a whole group of friends that you just left.
Yeah, what was traumatizing, I would say, is like realizing when we arrived in North America how poor we were. That was actually quite traumatizing, because...
So you didn't know?
Well, in the Soviet Union, everybody's just poor. Like, it's just normal for your grandma, to wake up at 5 in the morning to go in the bread line, because she has to. You can't get bread if you're there at 8 in the morning. There'll be no more bread. So the grandmothers, the retirees, would get up super early, go to the store, and then wait in line for 2 hours to get a loaf of bread, because they would sell out, because there was always a food shortage. It was always the case. in the Soviet Union.
But you had no idea.
No, so I remember like, you know, I'm on the airplane and I remember that very, very clearly because we're flying from Moscow to Montreal, then we change planes and on the airplane they give me like this little Etch-a-Sketch toy. I've never seen that before. I'm like, this is crazy technology. Like you can draw on it and then like pull it and the thing disappears and draw again. I saw my first can of Pepsi. I've never seen a can of soda before in 92. Like it didn't exist in the Soviet Union. And then the other thing I remember when we landed in Vancouver, I needed to go pee and there was urinal pucks in the urinals. I'm like, I had never seen a urinal puck. Like, I just remember thinking, like, what is happening? What is this stuff?
So, would you say, just curious, this kind of sounds like a dumb question, it might be, but were people happier in the Soviet Union versus Canada? Because it's interesting, because, like, I asked this question to someone, like an Uber driver the other day that was from, like, a third world country, and he said that people were happier there. But I'd imagine it was so corrupt, maybe not.
I would say it was so this is something I was actually thinking about this morning because I woke up literally thinking that question. So I started researching it this morning. I just needed to know for myself because I was thinking back to that, right? Like I will introspect. And I'll say this. People in North America are happier. Now let me rephrase that. People back there were happier. People back there were happier, but they were less unhappy than the people in North America. So the reason, what I'm trying to say is it's a very difficult thing to kind of comprehend is like people in North America have a delusional degree of unhappiness. Like the unhappiness, you know, because you have like a pretty comfortable life and then you're creating problems that don't exist. You know what I mean? So yeah, people in North America are probably both happier and unhappier at the same time. Like there's just like this degree of unhappiness within what should be perceived as happiness. Would I say people in the Soviet Union were happier? You have to ask my parents. I'll probably go back into the 90s were pretty nuts.
What do you think they would say?
My dad 100% would say they were happier back there.
Really?
100%, yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So what happened when you got to Canada?
Well, I remember like we went to a supermarket and it was full of food. I hadn't seen cereal before, so I was like, whoa, cereal. And cartoons. Like we got like a cartoon every week, you know, delivered on Soviet propaganda TV, and it was like some same cartoon my parents grew up on. Because in the Soviet Union, you know, when you kill capitalism, when you kill innovation, nothing's new. So everything's just recycled over and over. So it's like we're literally watching the same cartoon our parents watched.
Oh, so it was like a whole new world to you.
Planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then what was school like?
It was tough. Like I said, I realized very quickly that we were poor. That was a difficult thing because, again, back in the Soviet USSR, everyone's poor. Just...
So it's kind of...
Yeah, just like
you
you're
felt
poor.
different from everyone else because you
Well, I got made fun of because I dressed different, right? Like I had patches in my pants. Like my great-grandmother who lived into like the early 2000s would like repair, if I like may have had a hole in my classy, you know, Soviet sweatpants, which as Slavs, that's what we wear. You know, I had the track suits and the sweatpants, and mine had patches on the knees because my great-grandma would stitch them up. Like everybody in the Soviet Union learned different skills because nothing would get done that you needed done. Like if you wanted something fixed, you just had to do it.
Is it hard when you come on shows like mine and these girls talk about their trauma and you're like, you know what I mean? It's just, you actually came from the Soviet Union and they're talking about how hard it was for them. You know,
I mean, look, I think I'm privileged in the sense that my parents like raised me in one home and they stayed together. And obviously there's disadvantages some of those girls had because like they were raised by a single mom, and that has like profoundly negative consequences on them like through their adolescence, as we see now, like actualized through statistics and data. But I mean, are their problems pretty stupid? Yeah, they're pretty stupid, but you can't tell them that.
Yeah. So you went to Canada, and then where'd you go to school?
So I went to high school and elementary school in Vancouver, and then UBC, University of British Columbia in Vancouver Free University.
Okay. And what was that like?
UBC was a really interesting experience. So again, this is kind of getting into what Canada looked like and maybe still looks like. My dad tells this story. I don't remember it as well, but he said he took me to the not career day. He took me to like initiation at UBC, like to check out the campus and stuff. And, you know, we're driving my dad's 89 Camry, and we pull into the parking lot. And Vancouver was an interesting town in the early 2000s because in 2000, Hong Kong seceded from the British Empire and it went back into Chinese rule. And so all the wealthy people in Hong Kong, it's one of the wealthiest cities in the world, they moved their families to Vancouver because there was more sort of certainty in a democratic country. So, you know, I'm like a whitish looking guy, obviously. And like at that time, the university is probably 90% Asian. I mean, that's just the demographic of Vancouver. Like Vancouver is just that way.
I did not know that.
Yeah, Vancouver's
Really?
like profound. I don't know the total area, but I know that like at the university, there's many times on group projects where like I have the best English and I'm the one that wasn't born in the country. That's pretty normal in Vancouver. It's a normal Vancouver experience.
I had no idea that.
Yeah,
that
so,
was...
like I grew up on like Chinese food. I had a Chinese girlfriend. Like that's just, my friends were Chinese. It's just like, that's fine. Like that's just what it was.
Okay.
But they had so much money. And so, you know, you get into UBC and it's a very wealthy school, very wealthy area for, you know, this demographic. And the parking lot's got like Lamborghini, like straight up Lamborghinis and like Bentleys in it. And my dad tells me this story, and I don't remember it, but he told me that. He's like, when we went to the initiation day, when we're in the parking lot, my dad said, you looked at me and you said, I'm going to drive a car like that one day, but I'm going to buy it for myself. It won't be you.
Wow.
Because obviously the kids there were getting this stuff. And by the way, that's a very typical Vancouver experience. You'll see a lot of 19, 20-year-old kids driving Lambos. It's just how it is.
So tell me, you mentioned you had a sales job in college.
Yeah.
Was that your first job?
Yeah. I worked at a gas station for 3 weeks and got fired because I had all sorts of ideas. I think, and whenever you're a creative type of person, I didn't know what that meant.
That happened to me.
Right?
Sort of. They hated me in corporate because I was always trying to bring in like new technology and stuff. Yeah.
That was me.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I learned this later, like, because people started referring to me as being creative. I didn't think I was creative. I don't know what that meant, right? Mm-hmm. And so I got into the, you know, the whatever, university, and then so I was working at a gas station for 3 weeks. I get fired because I'm annoying my manager. Okay, fine. Then I'm rollerblading to class. Somebody approaches me. He's like, hey, you look like you're working, you know, you're rollerblading to class. You know, you really care about your fitness and motivation. What I didn't say is like, no, I can't afford the 75 cents a day parking. And I'm parking on the highway, taking a bus because we had a free bus pass, and I lived about an hour and a half from campus. So I would drive to like where I can park on the highway, get on the bus, and then take the bus, and then get off the bus and then rollerblade to the campus. Because the bus didn't go like totally to campus. So it's like, that's
so
my
you're rollerblading by the highway?
Oh, yeah. But I'm saving 75 cents.
Yeah.
I know. I'm like, I either look, I don't know what I look like, but I was just poor. I wasn't motivated.
You're just like I rollerbladed in college too. That's funny.
Okay.
Not just for fun. You know
no, I was, and I just imagine
I'm just
like,
imagining like this really busy highway, just this kid rolling.
Yeah, I was just, you know, with my tag, and I needed to get to school. And, you know, I wasn't thinking about like whatever. I mean, obviously I probably looked like a total loser because that's what it was. But somebody's like, hey, you know, you're working.
I don't think you looked like a loser.
Oh, no. I looked like a loser.
No, it's like, okay. There's something that people respect about people that are just like crazy.
A small percentage of people will respect it.
Yeah, okay, it's like when I was telling the story yesterday on the show how I was going door to door in neighborhoods like asking for a job, and it was just more of a social experiment. But people respect it to be
wealthy people respect it. Yes.
People.
Yeah.
Like people that just don't care if they look stupid. They're trying to get it done.
Listen, I buy from any salesperson that knocks on my door and they're good. I'll buy. I don't care what they're selling. I'll buy it because I respect the hustle. And if they look like they hate their job, I won't buy.
You know, my family does that, but with kids, lemonade stands, I'll always stop for a lemonade stand. I'm like, get that money.
Sure.
And I always pay, like, I always give them like $20, even though it's 50 cents.
I had a funny story on Sunday. A door-to-door salesperson came to our house in Estonia, and my wife bought whatever this person was selling, and then the person asked, it's like, can you tell me about, you know, she's trying to get like approach on other families to you know, have a little bit of a preparation before she knocks on their door. She's like, and who lives in this unit, that unit? My wife's like, what do you mean? She's like, you know, this quartile, this. My wife's like, this is one house. Like the salesperson thought that our house was a quad, which I'm like, baby, we made it. You know, that's like a really nice compliment. But she was like, wait, this is one house? Like, yeah, it's one house. Yeah, this guy's been to my house. So, yeah, so somebody identified me as being ambitious, which, okay, I guess I was more like just whatever. But yeah, I got recruited to selling encyclopedias door to door.
Yeah, wow.
And so, yeah, that was crazy.
That was a tough sell.
It was crazy. And I remember, you know, knocking on doors. We went to Ontario, Ottawa, and Toronto. Because what happened was we relocated for the entire summer. Like, we literally got in a caravan last day of finals, and we drove like 4,000 miles away from home. And we were just, because that way we can't quit. It was like true vagabond from a van, you know. You live in a basement with like 6 other dudes. You're working 6 days a week, 14, 15 hours a day, just knocking on doors. That was the thing, right? And I'm like, well, I got nothing better to go back to, so why not? And you know, it's like super hot. I don't know about Fahrenheit. It's like 35 degrees Celsius, 60% humidity. You get nosebleeds just from the humidity outside because there's smog. And sometimes it rains and you're knocking on doors like, hi, I want to sell you some encyclopedias. But thankfully, you know, the lessons that we gained from that, like perseverance, positive affirmation, just making the best out of a shitty situation. And actually, now that I think back, even just voluntarily putting yourself through hardship. because that's a safe environment to fail in. It's not like a war that if you fail, you blow up. It's like if you fail, you get rejected. You might cry a little bit, but you're going to have to pick yourself back up and keep going. And I love that, right? Especially for a man, again, I can speak to my own experience, like that rite of passage experience that we don't have in North America because there's no, and there's no army conscription. You just, as a guy, there's no rite of passage. I believe in the rite of passage because I went through that and thankfully I discovered that I'm okay at sales and I have a certain passion for influencing people. And I like the thing that, that summer I came back, I had an $8,000 check. It was not huge. It was $8,000, but I was able to pay off my tuition because it was $6,000 only tuition at the time. So kind of dating myself here. The next summer I went back, I took home a $49,000 check.
Selling encyclopedias?
Yeah. So I bought my. I was 20.
How much did the encyclopedias go for?
About $600. It wasn't that expensive, but you just you learn.
Yeah.
And then so like I was like 8K, and I was like 50, 49, like 50, then like 50, then I jumped to like 130K in one summer.
Jesus Christ.
So at 23, this is how my life changed. I was rollerblading to class at 20. At 23, I was a full-time university student. I was paying my own tuition, and I was a homeowner.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was a really quick turnaround, right?
And so you went from literally rollerblading to class.
Yes.
Some guy, I'm assuming he mentored
It was a lady.
you.
It was a lady.
Oh, it was a lady.
Yeah,
Some lady saw you, thought you were ambitious.
Yeah.
Recruited you to, was it her company?
No, so it's a huge company out of Nashville, Tennessee, and they're like a big direct selling company.
Okay.
And so this company's been around for like 160, 170 years. Like they've been around forever. It was started by a pastor selling Bibles door to door. Like that was the kind of origin story. And you know what's crazy is obviously my friends all thought I was signing up for like to be human trafficked somewhere. Right? Because they're like, what? And my mom thought I was nuts. She's like, wait, you're going to go 4,000 miles away from home and knock on doors selling books? And this is 2003, 2004, my first summer, 2003. It's like, we have internet. And I'm like, but mom, I think this will be good for me. I was just feeling this drive for
So
adventure.
this was after college?
No, this is in college.
This was the summer. This was
the summer, yeah,
okay.
03. So every summer we would go for 3 months and sell. And then, of course, my fourth, I did 5 years at university because I did 2 degrees. By my fourth and fifth year, I would usually miss the first couple of weeks of school because I had sold so much that I have to stay and like deliver everything.
So when did you start your company?
2010.
Okay, so was that, I'm just trying to figure out the timeline.
Yeah, so 03, so 01 I go to university.
Okay.
03 is my first summer.
Okay.
And then I sell in 03, 04, 05, 06. And then I do my graduating year, I sell in 07. And then I do one more year because in 07, I sold that summer. I made like $130,000 that summer. So I'd saved up like quite a lot of money for a university student coming out of school. And then I travel for a year. And then in 2008, I sell books again. And then I travel again for a year and a half. And then I come back and start a company. So I got a lot of traveling done like before I kind of took on this undertaking.
And what inspired you to start your company? Was there an aha moment?
Yes.
Like what? Okay, tell me.
One thing I didn't mention is in 2008, I left the book thing before I went to travel. I took a corporate consulting job in Texas, lived in Dallas, and that lasted 3 months. I got let go. Because same thing, I was just super ambitious and like just having all these ideas.
I relate to that so much.
Yeah.
They hated me in corporate. They hated me.
Well, the corporate people are not like, anybody with an MBA just hates me because I don't think like them at all. Like I'm not linear. I want to explore. I want to take risks. I read a statistic today that an average millionaire files bankruptcy 3.5 times in their life. That's insane.
Really?
Yeah, that's insane. I was shocked when I read that, but I looked at the data and like, oh my God, there's stats to back that up. Which means that millionaires are people that will take risks and fail and try again until they succeed. So that's a resiliency argument, actually. It's not a failure argument, it's a resiliency argument, right? And so corporate people, they're not into failure. Like they just want the safest thing for everything. And I'm going in there, let's try this, let's try that. And they're like, you're insane. And so 3 months in, I'm like, I can't do this. So I left. And I was just thinking like I probably should start a business because I don't think I'm employable. Like I just realized I don't think I'm employable.
Oh my gosh, I had that same thought. Like literally when I was in corporate, because I would always go to my management and just ask them like, can we use this software? Like, why are we doing it this way? This doesn't make any sense. And like, I'm 22, I don't know, 22 to 24, I think I was. So like, what is this chick talking about? She doesn't know anything. Yeah.
Plus I hate stupid rules.
Yeah, thank you. Rules that are there for no reason.
Stupid rules. Yeah. Stupid rules.
So they let you go. Why suits?
So I made a list of things. Again, I wanted to be strategic. There was an incident in my life that I refer a lot to new people we hire in our company, which is I had a mentor I talked about on the show yesterday. He had sold his company for about $50 million at 39 years old. And then he started at a nonprofit. He put me on the board of that nonprofit just so I can learn. He said, I just want you to learn. It was a wonderful thing he did. So it was a Sunday. I'm in his office on a Sunday. And we're raising money to build a new facility at UBC, to build a new building at UBC. That was the fundraiser he undertook for his organization. Nonprofit. And this guy walks in, this little chubby, white curly hair with a hat. Guy looks about 60. Walks in, he's, shakes hands, gives him an envelope. Oh, see you, and walks away. And so this mentor of mine, Eyal, he opens the envelope and there's a check for $500,000.
From him to you?
No, not from him to you. From this old man to Eyal. That was a donation he gave, $500,000 to help fund this building that Eyal was building.
Wow.
$500,000. Okay. So I don't know. I had money at the time, but not like $500,000 to donate money. Because I'm like 24 and I'm looking at like, what? I've never seen a $500,000 check before. It's an incredible experience actually to be in that energy, And I go, that guy just gave you $500,000. He's like, yeah, he donates $500,000 to us every year. I go, you see the biggest donor? He's like, no. There are people that do $1 million a year for us. Keep in mind, we're building transparently, like growing up Jewish in the Soviet Union. This was building a campus, building for the Hillel Foundation. So like the Jewish student community, which I'm sure is going to get a lot of hate online because all these conspiracies. No, there's no conspiracy. I grew up poor as shit. But that community does have a ton of money. Like it's a very wealthy community, and these are very successful people. But this is the most unassuming little old man that walked in and gave a check for $500,000. And I go, Eyal, like, what do you have to do with your life to be able to give away $500,000 for just something you believe in? And Eyal like thought about it. He goes, all of these guys do something different. Like Neil was the guy's name that gave the money, happens to be in construction. His friend Jonathan's an accountant. He gives like $1 million. He went through all these names. He's like, they all do different. One guy's an orthopedic surgeon. Everybody does something different. He goes, but there's one thing they all have in common. And this is profound to hear this at 24. He goes, the one thing they all have in common is they've all ever only done one thing. I go, what does that mean? He goes, they've all been married to the same woman since I've known them for the last 30 plus years. And they've all only had one job. Mind blown. That was prophetic because, like, you go now to 2023 and people jump from relationship to relationship, jump from job to job. It's too hard. It doesn't work. I don't like this. People don't understand or value commitment and value resiliency. People value, I'll get a $200 raise if I switch jobs. It's like, okay, well, good luck living life with that logical fallacy as much as you might believe it to be true. But here's a guy that sold his company for like $50 million, getting a $500,000 donation right in front of me telling me do one thing. So my thing was like, if I start a business, I want to only do one thing. So I have to figure out what that thing is. Does that make sense? So I'm talking to my best friend. My best friend skipped 2 grades of high school. Between his parents, they have 3 PhDs. So in like biochemistry, like crazy intelligent family. Sister's a doctor. Like my friend is a brilliant guy, and he got a Goldman Sachs internship in New York as like a second-year university student. He's a brilliant guy. I'm not like him. My other best friend, I have 4 best men at my wedding. One has an honors physics degree. One is the guy I just told you about. One guy now works at the World Bank, graduated university with a master's in 3 years, speaks fluent Chinese. He's a white dude. Learned Chinese, won a competition, got sent to China for an internship, got his master's degree, now works at the World Bank. So I have some pretty smart friends, and I'm really intimidated by them. Like, my friends I just got lucky are like really, really smart people. And so I'm talking to my best friend. I'm like, man, I feel very insecure because I want to build something. I want to do something. But you're like skipping 2 grades of high school. How do I compete with a guy like you? Because, when you're winning, you have to be you have to be winning against somebody. There's a competition, right? And Peleg, I'm sure he's listening to this later. He's like, he told me something. He's like, he was a buy-side analyst. That was his internship that he was doing somewhere. And he was like, meaning that he would evaluate companies based on how much they're really worth. And so he would go with these very, very qualified management teams and investment teams to go interview, like leaders of companies. And he goes, there's 2 kinds of rich guys that I've met. That's what he told me. He goes, the first kind is the one that goes to an Ivy League school, gets into an investment bank, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, whatever, And that guy becomes a managing director, but then you're competing against all the other guys that went to Ivy League schools. He goes, but the most successful people I've met evaluating companies is somebody who is dominating a non-sophisticated industry. I go, what do you mean? He's like, well, the richest guy I've interviewed recently owned a waste removal company. He collects garbage. But his competitors are not Harvard guys. They're unsophisticated. So he's like, if you go into an unsophisticated industry and learn to dominate it, you can do really, really well. And so I'm thinking like, okay, what's an unsophisticated industry that has nothing to do with garbage? Because I don't want to pick up garbage. And I see suits, and I'm thinking, okay, well, that seems pretty simple. Who's my competition in suits? Like some guy in a store? You know, sure, the store might have a nice brand, but it's just like some guy like, hello, sir, I work in retail. I can beat that guy in sales. So it was unsophisticated. So that was my number one thing. It had to be unsophisticated and easy to learn. The reason it had to be easy to learn is coming out of the encyclopedia business, I had a lot of friends that I had recruited into that business that were selling books with me, so I can recruit them into suits. I also wanted a product that required no further schooling because I'd spent 5 years in school. I knew that academia was not for me. And I also wanted a product that gave me, because I had delusional aspirations of being international. I don't want to sell insurance or financial services or real estate because then I have to be married to my city. I want to be able to travel the world and build around the world, which actually has come true. So that was my decision. It was like unsophisticated.
How many cities are you in?
Oh, 30 something.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So that was a decision. But here's something funny. So my last name is Tukshar. I didn't know this until a couple of years ago as my dad was researching some of our family history. Tukshar in Yiddish, which is like the language that Jews in the Soviet Empire spoke, means tailor. Tuch means cloth, and sher like shear, or in French charret, that means to cut. So my last name actually means tailor. I had no idea. Turns out my great-grandfather had been like a really, really prominent tailor in pre-World War II Soviet Union. And so maybe there was a little bit of divine intervention that happened on the back end that was unintentional, but the things that led to this were just logical, strategic decisions.
So who was your first suit for?
My first suit was Howard. He was a partner at a law firm called Gowlings.
Okay.
Which is, at the time, it was the largest law firm in Canada. I don't know about now. They're Gowlings something now. They've merged with some Japanese company. And I made a cold call on the phone. He was, if I remember correctly, he was a lawyer that with Aboriginal law in Canada. It's a big thing in law. I pick up the phone, I cold call him. And I'm like, hi, I'm Dimitri. I'm selling suits, blah, blah, blah. And I sound really good on the phone. Like at this point, I've been door to door. So like I'm not saying it like when I say it on the phone. I sound pretty competent, even though I'm 25 years old, 25, just turned 26. I'm pretty competent. And Howard is like, and he talks like rich men talk. Well, slow and deep and thoughtful. So how much do your suits cost? That's what he asked me. Now I know that I've done sales. I'm not going to answer that question. I have to, because I know it's a trap and I don't know which way it's going. And I said, what do you like to spend on your suits? Now, we expect him to say as little as possible. No, he goes, I would never buy from a company that sells a suit for less than $3,000 because that company doesn't know what they're doing. And I said, I'll bring you the nice stuff then. That's what I said. I have a video about this too. So I show up at his office, 27th floor, overlooking airport. There's an airport on the West Coast. It's like the seaplanes will land on it, like a harbor, Vancouver. I mean, it's just how it is. So I come in, and the first thing Howard says, he's like, damn, you're young. He just looks at me, you're young. This is before facial hair. I'm like 24, 25. I can't grow a beard yet. And I'm like, okay, he's trying to take power over me. I understand what's happening here. And I go, Howard, let me ask you a question. Would you rather buy a suit from an old, incompetent tailor or a young, hungry guy like me? Because I'm challenging now. I'm like, because I know he sees me in him. You know what I'm saying? Or he sees himself in me. Like, he's like, oh, this guy's hungry. And he's like, okay, let's sit down. So we sit down, and he buys a suit. He buys a suit.
How much was the suit?
It was like $3,600.
Wow.
Kind of like what he said he would spend, right? And of course, at the time, I'm thinking that's a lot of money, but like, I'm just playing it cool. Sign him up, and then he's like, let me show you something. He sees that I'm really, I'm at this point, I am ambitious. Now I'm like, I can say this is now ambition, right? Like, he shows me out the window. He's like, you see that little plane over there? That's mine. So he lived on Vancouver Island, which is like Victoria, like the Nanaimo, like Comox. There's all these little towns on the island, about a 2-hour ferry, but it's about a 45-minute flight in. So he flew his own seaplane from the island to work every morning. And I'm standing there, and I never seen anything like that. I'm like, I want to work with people like that for the rest of my life because that's freaking cool. That's freaking cool. That was my first suit sale.
And what have you learned from like working, like what are top 1% men like?
The number one
know,
word.
women. We talk about that all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
These men. So yeah, what are they like?
Here's what I teach to all of our young guns. There's one word that describes the 1%. If you're paying attention, the word is predictable.
Okay.
They're extremely predictable. I can tell you exactly where each of my clients will be at every hour on the day, on any day of the week for the next 10 years. They're predictable. Like if I call that guy at 3 p.m. on a Thursday, I know he's in the office. If I call him at 8 p.m. on a Friday, I know he's at his son's baseball or soccer game. And that goes for the next 10 years. Like there's, like especially because your content is like men and women and inter sort of gender relations kind of thing. And it's like, oh, the guy doesn't text me back and this and that. It's like, you have the dark triad and women become attracted to this sort of like emotional roller coaster.
Right.
Yes, successful.
But that's not successful men.
No, it's not successful men.
So women are looking for men that are unpredictable and that have dark triad traits.
Yes.
But the top 1% of men don't typically.
Well, think about it, man. Like, woman, think about this. Look, it's like imagine that you're actually really, really successful. That means other people rely on you, right? Like that means that you are a doctor or a surgeon, which means like what happens if you skip the surgery you're scheduled? You're never going to be a doctor again. It means you're a lawyer representing your client in a case that could alter his life forever, and you miss your schedule. You don't show up to court and you're texted and you don't reply. Is that a formula for success? Will people trust you?
And especially if you're like, I'm trying to, because I grew up in the small business world, so it's a little different than like they talk about high value men and men of value, and I would say, do you know the difference?
Tell me.
High value men are typically in more like corporate settings. Yep. They're in more like they tend to go to like nice events.
Yep.
They're from what I understand, where the men of value are the kind that go get a piece of land and like don't talk to anybody. Like, does that make sense?
Well, so statistically that makes sense. Do you know what percentage of so here's the stat: 50% of all. This is an actual stat. I researched this morning. 50% of all millionaires are small business owners.
Wow.
50% of all millionaires. So about one in 9 Americans are millionaires now. In terms of like working age men, about 1 in 9 are millionaires. That's not a little. It's 1 in 9.
It's more than I thought, actually.
Yeah, it's like 1 in 9, 1 to 10, depending on who you ask. I've seen 1 in 9, I've seen 1 in 11, but let's say about 10%, whatever. Half of them are small business owners. Do you know what percentage of them are corporate? Less than 10% of millionaires come from corporate. It's actually a very small percentage of people that become corporate millionaires. It's mostly half of it is small business owners.
Wow.
There's a lot of doctors in there, obviously. Some pilots, people in sort of like these niche professions where they're the best at what they do.
When I think of millionaires, I think of like 3 categories where it's like, there's like 1, 2, 3, like 5, like under 10 millionaires, like 10 million or less, which is like one category.
Yes, that is a different category. Yeah, and then 10 plus. Yep.
Yeah, and then 50 plus is like
that's
stupid.
Ultra
like
high net worth. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like because 100 million plus is like private jet shit.
50 plus anything over 50 million, your life's the same. There's nothing you can buy the Jeff Bezos. It's the same thing.
Yeah. So tell me, like, where do your clients typically fall in out of? Because I'm thinking there's 10 million. We're gonna go 10 millionaire or less. 10 to 50.
Yeah, I mean, I can give you some
plus.
demographics. We believe based on the clients, like our own research and our client data, that our average client probably makes about $500,000 a year.
Okay.
The average millionaire only makes about $100,000 a year. FYI.
Wow.
Yeah, people think, a millionaire makes $20 million a year. No, a millionaire on average makes about $100,000. They're just strategic and smart. Now, obviously, those are the guys with $3 million. Those aren't the guys with, $50 million.
So can you tell me the differences between those 3 categories?
Well,
at all?
What specific differences?
Like, I'm just thinking like, what types of jobs do the guys in the 10 million category have versus the 10 to 50 and the 50 plus?
Oh, anything over 10 is business owner.
Okay.
Well, no, that's not true. That's not true. There's always a couple of like partners at law firms or investment banks that are like the 1 out of 10,000 guy that's just like the best in his industry and he's just crushing it, right? But primarily it's business owners.
The 10 to 50 is
Anything over 10, you need to be owning a business or being in a company or an organization that you effectively own your business. So financial services has the reputation for creating the most millionaires. And what are financial services? So let's say you're working in a high-level investment bank, or you're just a private investment advisor, which I'm sure your parents have, and that private investment advisor just works with rich families. He might be working for a big bank, but he's actually working for himself because he's building his own client portfolio. which is what we do in our company. Like our salespeople represent LGFG, but they're effectively building their own business within our organization. Because, you know, we help them with the branding, we help them with the leads, we help them with, warm leads, et cetera, et cetera. But ultimately, they build that client portfolio and then sell to those clients repeatedly to generate money, and then they run it like their own business.
Do you ever get nervous that they'll like take your like just leave and like start?
If they want to compete, absolutely great. Why not? And I'll tell you something. Like this is not a Dimitri thing or an industry thing or a company thing. This is a life thing. Like you have two options, right? Like, and this is a leadership thing. This might be a little bit outside of typical content, but you have two options in how you grow people, right? Either you limit people from reaching their potential because you're scared of what they're capable of, and then you're stuck with employees whose potential you've limited.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like if people want to go, let them go. It's like you can't.
Listen, if I'm hypergamy for females is very similar to hypergamy for business. You know, so I did, again, a little bit of statistical research because you contradicted me yesterday and you were right. You told me that wealthy men cheat more, and I said, I don't think so. And you were right. Wealthy men do cheat more. About 33% of wealthy men over $350,000 a year income cheat compared to about 20% of men in general. But guess for women, it's reversed. Poor women cheat way more than wealthy women. Poor women cheat way more than wealthy women.
Interesting.
But what does cheat mean? So it means let's dissect that, right?
Yeah.
Cheat means that first of all they're already in a committed relationship. We're talking about married couples. So poor married women.
Where rich women probably are in less relationships, I would guess.
Less relationships?
Yeah, I would imagine like rich women aren't as married as poor women.
Well, rich women are actually so we're talking just married people. We're talking just out of married people.
I don't know. I didn't think about it that hard.
Just out of like, I'm looking at
we can do
right?
married, fine.
So like just out of married people, there's women who are married and are wealthy, and there's women who are married and are poor.
Okay.
If a woman is married wealthy or if a woman is married poor, overwhelmingly that's a reflection of her husband. Overwhelmingly.
Right.
Because we know that like most of the money at the highest levels is made by men. This is just statistics.
Yeah,
I'm not judging. I'm saying this is just statistics,
we
right?
know.
So why is it that poor women cheat more? Well, why do women cheat? Like, so men that are rich are cheating more, apparently, and I'm looking at the stats here, because they just have way more options.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's not necessarily the men going out there and like, I'm going to cheat because I'm rich. No, they're just attracting way more female attention. And those women that are cheating with those men, they're complicit in that. Like, the woman wants that guy knowing what he's at.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of guys would have a hard time in Tiger Woods' position, where he comes home every day.
Statistically most faithful man on the planet, actually.
What?
Think about it.
Tiger Woods?
Listen.
Okay.
Listen. So Norm Macdonald, who died last year, and I love Norm Macdonald, the comedian.
Okay.
He had this joke, like Tiger Woods comes home after a golf tournament. Not come home, comes to a hotel. And he's like, hello, I'd like a chicken sandwich, please. What? No, I don't want a blowjob to end all blowjobs. I just want a chicken sandwich. Because I've spent time with professional athletes. I'm going to tell you guys a story. So I had a friend who's a professional athlete, who's a neighbor of mine. And I'm not going to name names, but very famous person. Like very, very high level athlete. Everybody knew he was making a shit ton of money. So I've spent a lot of time pro athletes. We go to one of his games. Won't say the sport. We go to one of his games. We're sitting in the family section, because I know this guy, so he's like, here's some, you can go into the family section. It's me and my wife in the family section. And the family section is like right at where the action is. We're like, literally, we could probably high five if we reach over enough.
Right.
Two girls are in the front row. I don't know who they are, but they look good. And they're yelling at him. Now imagine this. Hey, we want you. We're together, you and us. And he's just like, he hears it, right? So imagine you're a man, okay? You go to work. I don't care what you do. You're an accountant. You show up at the office. And two of the hottest 22-year-olds you've ever seen show up at your office where you work. Hey, we want to double team you today. What do you think? What would you do as a man? It's like, that's just the life that he lives. I've seen this. I've seen this.
Well, that's my opinion on it. It's just like I feel like as women, it's just like, I think a lot of guys would have a hard time in his position.
Imagine Tiger. This guy's not Tiger, man.
Even a good man who doesn't want to cheat. If he every day, it's like at some point he might.
But this isn't even like, hey, we work together and we had a long conversation. We connected. This isn't that. These are women showing up at his work, right, dressed provocatively, and by the way, these are not 6s and 7s. These are some of the hottest women you'll ever see, because they know that's how they validate themselves, because that's the guy they want. And they show up at your work and they're just soliciting you for that. Like they're just like, hey, anything you want right here, and that's every day of his life. And he's traveling 80% of the time for away games.
Is he married?
He's married with kids.
Wow.
And they know it because he's in the community, right?
Right.
And I don't know if this guy ever took it up. Like I've never seen him take it up but it's just part of his everyday routine where like you can't even like walk to work without some chick I've had another one. I golfed with the captain of my hockey team, NHL team one time. We golfed together. Like I knew him from, just being a client. He's like, come golf with me. Sure, just me and him. So I spent, I'm terrible at golf, but 18 holes with the captain of the team. I'll say yes. Every time a girl recognized him, she ran over for a selfie and an autograph. She's like, oh, you can save my Instagram, Like women at that level, when they see a guy like that, it was crazy for me because I've never been treated by women like that. Just transparently. I didn't know that was a thing, right? The way that women treat those guys, like it's like the way that guys treat the most beautiful women they ever see. Like they're getting DMs, these guys. They're getting approached on the street. Like it's just crazy.
Well, I think that's where like a lot of times the red pill and like the trad cons kind of get into arguments because it's like the trad con guys will be like, well, you should never cheat on your wife, da 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 da. And it's like some of the red pill guys are like, well, you've never been in that position. And so it's like they'll be like shaming the guys that cheat for like being in a position they've never been in.
I've talked to my wife about this, and I'm really open with my wife. Like we have we've been married 10 years.
Right.
And we've been together for 13 years. So we have 4 kids. And I'm like, I'd say like I don't know how I would react to that. It's like I would like to believe the best of myself.
Right.
Like I would like to believe that I will hold myself to the highest standard. And certainly like I realize there's always opportunities, but like I've never had like 2 cheerleaders dressed like scandally and beautifully like walk up to me and be like, hey, what are you doing right now? Let's go back to our hotel. I'd just be like I don't know what my brain would do. Like I would like to believe the highest of myself. I really would. And I'd like to say, hey, I'm gonna make the right decision, but I'm not tempted at that level. You know what I mean? Like when things are transpiring and escalating, I can catch on pretty quick. Like, oh, she's giving me the eye. This isn't that. This is different.
Yeah, and I think that's where like sometimes like they'll get into like disagreements. I don't know. And the one thing that's interesting, you said on the show how you were talking about how you should sleep around as a guy
when you're single. Yes, you should.
Yeah, and because I think a lot of times the trad cons will come in and be like, you shouldn't contribute to the problem. And you kind of seem like a mix a bit.
Well, I'm a realist.
Yeah, and that's like, and that's what the red pill guys are saying. It's like, well, we're just responding to the women. Like we wanted a girl at a 20-year-old virgin, but they don't really exist.
I don't believe that's necessarily true. I think that what you said yesterday struck me as you said you have to be a little bit more selfish. I agree with that. That's the Ayn Rand, the Randian philosophy, which is like if you act in your own self-interest, it's up to everybody else to act in their own self-interest and at least the best outcome. While I'm a pretty hardcore capitalist in that sense, I do believe you should act in your self-interest, and I believe others should too. As a man, when I'm 23, 24 and I'm single, it is in my interest to sleep with as many beautiful women as I possibly can. That is 100% of my interest. And it's 100% in the women's interest to get a commitment from the best guy they can possibly get, and that's exactly what you should be trying to do.
Yeah.
And if I'm unable, and here's how you destroy that argument, by the way. If I'm unable to sleep with any women, it's not the women's fault.
Right.
And if a woman is not able to get a man to commit, it's not the man's fault, because we have to be equal here. You want equality? There's equality. People are like, well, as a man, you should do this. It's like, well, how do you feel about these guys that are like really angry at women? We hate them. Wasn't it your fault you're not sleeping with them? No, it's like they're not attractive. Okay, then isn't it then likewise your fault that you can't get a man to commit?
Yeah. But that's like where sometimes I feel like a lot of times the way that men act is in response to the women. Because like if we required marriage before sex, like then men would wait, like they would marry us before that.
Sure.
But it's like I feel like a lot of the way that men, like the trad cons will like point at the men and be like, you act like this. It's like, well, the women started it.
The problem is it's not men or women that are the problem. It's delusional people.
Yeah.
It's not men or women. It's like I don't care how much you want to argue biology. You can't negotiate desire. You can't argue biology. And people that we had this gal on the show yesterday, right? Like she just had this belief of how things should be.
Right.
And I sit down with guys in our company that are young. They come in, guys and girls. And the first 3 lessons, we have a 3-part video series they watch their first day at work. And the 3-part video series is Destroying Delusion 1, Destroying Delusion 2, and Destroying Delusion 3. Okay. And I say, my goal for you when you start working here is to divorce your delusions, right? Divorce your delusions from you. Like, I want to point you to, like, you're going to say, well, this works, but I'm going to show you what actually works.
Okay.
That's it. And some people go through that and they are thankful.
What are the delusions?
Oh, there's like for example, there's one. Let's talk about sales for a second. There's one delusion that like knocking on doors and selling doesn't work. They're like, oh, people don't buy like that anymore. Everybody just buys on dinner. That's just like that's delusional. It's not true. Mm-hmm. Like we do millions a month in revenue from cold calling, from knocking on doors. It works. I mean, that's like a very rudimentary example, but it's just a fact, right? Mm-hmm. With men and women, it's like, oh my God. Like, I mean, you know this. Like, look, I'm 40. What that means is that like my peer group is also 40. So I see things from the other side of the fence now, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's like all these folks that are like, oh, you know, a woman should, you know, like not get married, blah, 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 build a career. It's like, yeah, you've never met like a single 38-year-old woman. Mm-hmm. Like I know them. It's like, who do you think a single 38-year-old woman's dating pool prospects are? Like you're a 38-year-old woman. Is a 38-year-old single man going to date you?
It's got to be the older, like 10 to 15 years old.
Well, so a 38-year-old man is like, well, I can get a 25-year-old woman. Mm-hmm. And it's like, obviously a man's going to maximize his market for like fertility and beauty. Like that's just biology. I'm not sorry if it's offensive. It's just how it is. We know this from a millennia of human existence. It's like, okay, so many millennia of human existence. So it's like, okay, well, you're a 38-year-old woman. Like, so the guy you're going after, is he divorced? Probably. Mm. Like your market is just like divorced guys and they probably have kids because they're divorced and probably a little bitter and they have some child support payments. Mm-hmm. And so your entire dating pool is basically reduced like divorced 50 plus. That's a tough pill to swallow when you're 38, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you know, again, when I talk about delusion and especially like in our company, I'm like, I'm just going to show you how things are. I'm going to show you data and statistics and actual outcomes. You can make your own choices in life. I'm not going to make you make a choice.
Can I have an example of one that you give to the guy? Like, this is the delusion, this is
okay,
the stat, this is the outcome.
I'll tell you a really, really simple one. I'll tell you an anecdotal one because I think it's going to connect better with people that are like in that zone. So I tell young guys in our company, you're going to start in our company, you're 22, 23 years old, you're going to be working 60, 70 hours a week for a couple of years. Mm-hmm. And your girlfriend has never seen you work 60 or 70 hours a week because you've been together since you were 20 or 21. Mm-hmm. She just expects you to be home every night to watch movies and take care of her. Mm-hmm. At some point, your girlfriend's going to come to you and say, pick me or the job. That's what's going to happen.
Wow.
Because again, when they got into a relationship with that guy was like in school. He had all the time in the world to talk to her 17 times a day, to text her back, blah, 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 blah. And now you're going to be working 60, 70 hours a week. And you're going to be in meetings where you can't pick up the phone because you're in a client meeting. You're pitching a deal, blah, 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 right? Sometimes you have to go in on a weekend to close a deal. That's just what we do because we're, you know, successful men don't work 40 hours a week, right? Nobody gets rich working 9 to 5. And I sell our people, like you come to this company to work your ass off, build a business, get rich. You're not going to get rich working 9 to 5. Like, no, you know what I mean? They're not going to do it flipping burgers. You're going to do it building something significant. Okay. So when your woman comes to you with that choice, if you pick her over the job, you will lose both. If you pick your woman over your job, you will lose both.
Because then she thinks she can control you.
Well, here's how it actualizes. It's scary. So here's what happened. They go, okay, so I cut back my hours. Now I'm being outcompeted by younger, hungrier sharks in the company who are getting all the sweet deals because who do we as a company want to give the best deals to? The people that will be available to pick up the phone 24 hours a day and close that deal to make us the most revenue. Mm-hmm. That's who the deals go to, right? So now the deals are going to somebody else. So now you're losing substantial portions of potential for income. Mm-hmm. And then the last 2 times that I've had this guy in my company, different guys in my company, both times they picked a woman and within a year, the woman left him for another guy.
Wow.
And you know who she left him for? She left him for the guy who didn't give up his job over his woman. She left him for an older, wealthier guy who at that age was just like, no, I'm going to focus on myself and build myself more. Mm. A woman doesn't leave her man for a poorer, lazier man.
Right.
Like, why would you leave your man for a poorer, lazier man?
So out of 10 guys that come in with a girlfriend, how many does this happen to and how many pick the girl?
Probably, well, here's what I tell. I'm like, look, you're going to have the conversation before you start that this is how things are going to look. And there's going to be a time to make a choice. So before I married my wife, started dating my wife, I told her up front, I was like, I work a lot. I'm always on the road. I'm busy all the time. This is the ride that you're signing up for. And I'm young enough that I'm going to have options for the next 20, 25 years. I'm not going to, if you come between me and my ambitions, then you become a problem and I need you to be a solution. And that's just something you have to get on board with, or I'm going to let you know right now, we can just stay, fuck buddies. Because if you sign up for this and you become a problem between me and my career, I'm going to pick career first. That's the conversation. I'm like, you're going to have a conversation with your girl about that too. How many it happens with? Probably 7 out of 10 will pick the job. And now the reason that's
pretty good, actually. 7 out of 10 pick the job over the girl.
Yes.
I'm surprised it's that high.
Well, what happened is now we have very concrete examples of before it was just me saying it, but now we have other people, like we have over 100 people in our company. So now we have other guys that are like, hey, listen to Dimitri on this one, because I've seen it happen where this dude picked the girl and then a year later she left him for a different guy.
She leaves.
So now other people are backing up what I was saying. So
and how long does it take till does the girl usually, if he doesn't pick her, leave or no?
No.
No.
If he picks the job, she'll stay.
She'll stay.
Yeah, until he decides that she's in his way. If that's what happens, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to comment on individual relationships. No, usually if the woman sees her man has like a high ambition and high potential future, a woman will generally be complicit to like being a part of that plan. And that's what kind of changed my kind of idea on relationships, just observing it. Like, and again, this is gonna kind of be very red pilly, but like usually a woman is like really, really happy to comply to a powerful man. And I'm not saying be coerced. This is not coercion, because she could leave at any time. It's 80% of women that leave relationships, right? But if a man is ambitious and if a man is on a mission, usually a woman is so thankful to comply with that because she gets to be a part of that, which will piss off a lot of people. Sorry.
Can you give me another one? That was so interesting. The
divorcing delusion from reality.
Yeah, I know. What
I
else
have to
do you
rewatch
give
my own
them?
videos because it's like a 3-hour lecture that we do,
Yeah,
right?
this is so interesting.
Can I ask Kirill, do you remember any of the delusion stuff or how we talk about it?
Yeah. So one that stuck with me was when you told me that the job is not a job; it's a lifestyle that you.
That's a huge one, yeah. We talk about this a lot. So anybody that becomes successful in anything, there's no successful people with a job. They have a lifestyle. Like you don't have a job. Your job is your life. Is it not your lifestyle?
Yeah, it is.
So what happens is the most unsuccessful, and we work with over 15,000 multi-millionaires and ultra high net worth people. It's our client base. We're 15,000, right? So people that are unsuccessful tend to have a very separate work and life. So they're like,
Right.
I have my balance. They call it the balance. What does that mean? So I'm in at 9, I'm out by 4 or 5, and then I have my family time. And so job and life for unsuccessful, meaning financially and like business people that are not financially successful, their life and their job are totally separate. Like they have a life and then they have a job. And then they say things like, I want balance, or my boss can't call me at home. And it's like, okay, I won't. I don't need to call you at home, right? Like there's somebody more ambitious than you that's calling me at 10 p.m. saying, can you help me?
Right.
You know? The more successful people become, the more their life and their job become intertwined and married.
That's so true. Mr. Beast lives in his. I mean, I do too.
Yeah.
But he literally lives in his office.
Do you know what I did? True story. When I was in Calgary, which is where I was living for 6 years, building the office in Calgary in Canada, I had an office in the 12th floor of a building. I ended up buying the 22nd floor 2-story penthouse of that building to make it my home. And so I lived on the 22nd story penthouse, and I took the elevator down 10 floors to go to my office every day. So that way I can just integrate my life. Because sometimes on a Saturday I need to pop by the office. I don't want to drive 20 minutes. I get in the elevator, I go down 10 floors into my office, I get my shit done. And so everything became interesting. So my wife knows, for example, I just went to Asia. I needed to visit my Hong Kong office. So I took my whole family with me. We ended up going to Thailand for 2 weeks. I worked from there. So my work and my life, well, how do you see your family and kids? I take them on trips. I took my wife to Croatia and Hawaii last year. This year, I have a business trip coming up. Actually, a really funny one. You know the guy, the meme, Hide Your Pain Harold? He does the smile. He's just it's a very famous meme. And I'm doing suits for that guy. And he lives in Hungary. So I'm taking my wife to Hungary. I'm meeting Dr. Peterson in Bulgaria for a quick meeting. I'm taking my wife to Bulgaria for the weekend. So life and work just become intertwined. It's just one thing. Like for me, life and work don't have a separation. And that's what I tell these guys as well. It's like the more successful you want to be, integrate your life into your work. It's not about working hours. It's about results. It's always about results.
Yeah, that reminds me of how I grew up, because we grew up, I feel like I grew up with a lot of the people that my dad worked with. It kind of feels like they're like an aunt or something, like people that literally worked for my family. And we went to India too to see, because they had a whole office in India.
Oh yeah, IT guys, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to India next week.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, but you know how lucky you are. One of the things I noticed as well. Here's another interesting thing. This is another thing that if you're a young person and success is interesting to you, I'm fascinated by the topic. I'm going to talk about this forever. It's I look at it. Look, I used to visit these CEOs and sell them suits, right? And they would have a receptionist, a secretary. And that secretary was the sharpest damn gal you'll ever meet. She's so smart and so quick and just so understanding of things. I'm like, where did you, and I would ask these CEOs, where did you find a secretary like that? And they're like, oh, she wasn't like that when she started, but she gets to spend all day around the CEO and the people I meet. So my wife is she's pretty smart, but she's become really business savvy. She'll say stuff sometimes to remind me of things I need to remember. And I'm just like, whoa, that's freaking wise. And then she's like, yeah, I spend all my day like around you and around all these business things that you talk about. That's a better education than in school because it's real.
It's so much better than in school. So you speak about your wife a lot.
Sure.
How did you pick her? And what advice do you have to men when looking for a wife?
Very funny story. I finished as a top salesman in the book company, and then the company asked me to speak on stage in front of about 1,000 other salespeople. And so obviously I'm on stage in front of 1,000 salespeople, so all eyes are on me. So I have like crazy status, and I'm up there and I see this girl and I'm thinking like, oh, I'm gonna marry this girl. That was it. And so I walked up to her. There's a picture of like the moment we met because it was at a public event that I was speaking at. I walk up to her, we talked, exchange info, and the rest is history. Now, we didn't actually start dating like exclusive for like 2 or 3 years.
What?
She lived in Estonia, I lived in Canada.
No way.
Yeah, she came to visit me, I went to visit her, but I was doing my own thing. I was still whatever, right? She was in the peripheral, she was in the picture. I was interested, but you know, for us to make a relationship out of it, one of us would have to move countries.
Okay.
And I'm like, I'm not moving countries for, like, I ended up now living in Estonia, but I'm not moving countries for, like, I have my career here right now, I have my business here right now, I'm building here. And so, she basically was like, she wasn't like pressuring me, but she's like, hey, if I come to Canada, do you like expect me to just move in with you? That's what she said. I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, you move in with me.
And so she moved to you.
She moved to Canada.
So what made her different than other women you were seeing?
Well, I'll say the obvious. Beauty is definitely one of them. Like there was other beautiful women, but to me, she represented that sort of standard that I aspire for because she is like I have a type. Like everybody's different. I just have a specific sort of like type. She fit that type. That's one thing. I talk about, you know, like how one of my mentors, and I told a story yesterday, he said that, you know, pick a woman that respects her father. She really respects her father. I find that really appealing. I really like that she speaks so highly of her dad and how like they have a good relationship. He's a freaking cool guy too. I really get along well with him. I like that. I like that she didn't have any sort of, even though the social media age, she didn't have like a public profile or anything. She never advertised herself or marketed herself. Like there's just none of that, you know what I mean? That was very appealing to me because it was different from like others.
She sounds coachable too.
She would tell you she's very coachable. She would tell you she would take a lot of pride in saying I'm coachable.
Yeah.
Actually, she would use that word. Yeah.
And she was willing to follow you too.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
And she sounds really supportive too. Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
But she said you know, when I opened my mouth and talked that she wanted to be on the ride. I'm like, okay.
So what advice do you give your guys because you coach them to find a wife or something?
I coach them as best I can based on the success of the people in our company though. So we have tangible success because we've made many millionaires in our business now.
Okay.
Like we have guys and gals in our company, like the girl that runs our Dubai office, Yana's been with us for 7-8 years. The guy that runs our Belgian office, Yor's been with us 8 years. Eustace in Lithuania, 8 years. Chanda in Hong Kong, 12 years he's been with us. Like we have these people now in our company that have been around a long time that have made a great life for themselves. So we have other examples we can show them. So what we do is we try the best I can is to show the reality of the choices they made and the consequences those choices had, you know, and try to guide them to just like, hey, you can do whatever you want, but here's what we've observed tends to work and here's what doesn't work and you can do with it what you want. And if you do the other thing, here's examples of what that other thing has the consequences of. And by the way, you know, we had that girl yesterday, she was totally delusional. Like you're just telling her like you keep making the same dumb choices and they keep not working and you believe they're gonna, it's like that's insanity, right?
Wait, so don't tell me like specifics. Like, what advice do you tell them? Because I just think it would be good because, you know,
okay, I'll tell you a few.
We do have women that watch the show, and these are the guys they want to date.
So
right?
here's one thing I talked about with Kirill yesterday over breakfast. Like we were having breakfast yesterday. I said, look, people very much undervalue the positive consequences of discipline.
Okay.
Like we really undervalue. Like I'll tell you, I have some clients that are very, very wealthy, and you wouldn't think that they were super smart or like cunning. But they're really, really wealthy. But what you realize is they're so damn regimented and disciplined. They're like, again, they're so predictable. Like they're just so reliable. And, you know, and what I've noticed, like as our company has grown and scaled, and I'm sure you've seen it in your company as well, you pay a premium for predictable people. Like you can have a very highly talented person that doesn't show up to work sometimes. But at some point, that highly talented person doesn't show up to work sometimes becomes so frustrating to work with that you would rather take a medium talent that's super predictable, wouldn't you?
Oh, absolutely. We had issues with that early on where it was like, yeah.
Well, when you start a company, you're generally getting the shittiest people because you're on a brand. You know, that's just how it is, right?
No, I got lucky. I got a blessing.
a literal blessing, right?
Yeah.
No, but wouldn't you pay a premium for reliability?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I learned. Like one of the things I teach our guys, it's like you will get so much further on medium talent if you just show up every day and you do the things that you do those things that require to be successful. In our company, it's how many calls you make to prospects, how many prospects and clients you talk to in a day, how many clients you visit in person every day. If you keep, and we have specific metrics for them, like if you do these numbers, you'll be way more successful than somebody who's very talented who doesn't do those things. Like there's just such a premium that people receive in life for being predictable and regimented and disciplined. It's like going to the gym, right? Like if you do it every day, and if you're like keeping your, whatever dietary, whatever restrictions you place on yourself every day, like the outcome of that in the long term is preposterous.
So when it comes to dating, are you telling them to get a girl that's disciplined? Because the original question was, like what advice?
No, I never said that. I mean, I can see that working. I say that your goal as a man is to maximize your value as much as you can to create the biggest pool of potential mates and then pick from that pool.
Okay. And what do you tell them to pick for?
Well, support.
Okay.
Support. Somebody that wants to. I say this: somebody that wants to join you on your mission. We're not training guys that are going to be, working 9 to 5. We're training guys that are going to be really busy, traveling all the time. Like one of my top guys right now, he just spent 2 weeks in Sweden visiting clients. Then he flew to Norway because he's training a guy in Norway. He's back home now for 2 days. Then he goes to Spain. And he's got a young daughter with his wife. And I'm like, and he knew this when he joined our company. It's like, make sure that your wife is on board because you're going to go for a ride. You're going to go for a ride. Not everybody wants to go for that ride. Some women have or men too, but like some people have a scarcity mentality where they just want safety and security. And what you're providing is adventure and growth. And that's going to be hard. Not everybody wants adventure and growth. I mean, everybody kind of like instinctively wants it, but I think they may be too scared of it too. So I say look for somebody that's going to support you on your mission and that wants you to win. That wants you to win. There's this crazy, like remember the girls yesterday on the podcast, it's like there were some girls there that just wanted men to lose. Like their whole perspective on life is like, I hope that men lose. It's like, and why would you, it's like, well, I will make a man successful. Do you think a man would lose without you? That's a pretty destructive viewpoint.
Well, and it's like, I hate it when they say that because I'm like, I've grown up with successful men. And it's just like, they would be successful with or without you.
Sure.
I mean, you can make their life better and help and get them to a point where like they're very thankful and will always but successful men are going to be successful with or without you because they're on a mission.
Listen, successful, like beautiful women that find a great husband will be beautiful and find a great husband with or without you too. That's the thing about self-empowerment, right? So I tell our guys this a lot. I'm like, I'm not looking for people that are going to be unsuccessful without us. I want people that would succeed with or without us, but we'll give them the support and synergies that we can do it better, faster, and stronger together. That's it. I'm not looking for losers turn to winners. I'm looking for winners that are looking for a place to win.
So tell me about fashion. I know nothing about fashion. Okay. I grew up as a tomboy.
Sure, me too.
Very into sports. Yeah. And I'm at the point because of what I do for work that I'm really trying to get better at fashion, but it's not something that really comes natural to me. And I think a lot of guys feel that way too because most guys, like what percent of guys have really taken a look at their wardrobe?
0%.
Zero. So
like it's the thing that guys are not going to tell you, but they're incredibly insecure about, and they're a little bit embarrassed about being insecure about it. And when you think about a guy that goes on a journey and becomes, let's say, wealthy, like he's building his life, he's going to buy a nice house first, then he's going to buy a nice car, maybe a nice car, and then a nice house. Clothing is always the last thing to come up.
Oh, so tell me, I have a question.
Yeah.
What would you do for the people that work here? Like, what if I was going to up our fashion as a company? Yeah. What would you suggest for like uniforms?
I don't know if uniforms is what you want to go. You guys are a creative operation, right? Like, I'm not saying this because I want to unplug us. It's just like we and what we do, which is like more of a formal kind of apparel.
Right.
Like we might not be exactly the fit. Now, for you personally, if you're doing wife school and you go on looking very classy, very traditional, that might be a good fit, like on brand, right?
Right.
But I think if King Rich is out here, I think the guy's perfectly on brand.
Yeah.
You know why I think he's on brand? Because he's a college-educated former NCAA athlete, and you wouldn't know it until he opens his mouth. And I think that's so powerful. Because you look at him, you're like, who's the thug? Right? Like, he knows it. He says it himself. He wears chains and he's got the silver teeth, right?
Yeah.
Then he opens his mouth, you're like, wow, he's really smart. He is really smart. And I'm like, that's awesome. Because young guys are going to see themselves in him. I think a lot of young guys look at me and they're like, suits are so far away and so distant in their life.
Right.
And that's fine. That's okay. Not everybody has to see that. But he does that good bridge, so I'm not sure you need to change anything.
So what do you think about, average guy coming in, I want to look more professional. What do you tell him?
Well, one thing is, so here's the struggle that I had, okay? So I have a friend. He is a professional coach for men, who coaches men how to meet and attract women. That's what he does professionally. He's been doing it for 20 years, and he's really good at it. He's built a really good business out of it, and I think he's doing God's work because he's really helping a lot of guys. And I was spending some time with him, and I was not a clothing guy myself. Like before I started this business, I knew him from before I started this business. And he would always talk about dressing nice. I would say, like, why do I need to dress nice? You know, I go, this is actually really profound. I was like, you know, if I dress nice, women are going to think I'm trying too hard. He goes, no, if you don't dress nice, women are going to think that guy doesn't get it. I was like, pfft.
You know, I would love to do something because my dad is like one of those rich guys that doesn't care about his appearance at all. And I was thinking, he won't watch this, but I was thinking that I want to get him like a nice like watch or something because my dad, I don't know, I just feel like he's like one of those guys that he would appreciate it, but he'd never buy it for himself.
Sure.
Do you ever find guys like that?
I'm that guy.
Oh yeah.
My wife, this is a new suit. My wife literally made me throw out like 8 suits last week. She made me throw them out because she's like, you've had these for like 10 years. They're getting gross. Because and that's one of the things when you're self-made, by the way. When you're self-made, you know, you still think about preserving resources and things like that. It's not daddy's money that I'm spending. It's like I know how hard I work for it.
Yeah.
So I have a really hard time spending money on myself. Yeah.
So you give them the advice to get suits or like what?
I would give guys the advice that, you know, and I this is going to sound so cliche, but like dress to be the person you want to be.
Okay.
Like even just putting that out there to the world is going to attract a different energy. Again, we're getting metaphysical, but like dress for the person you want to be. One thing, if you're a guy that doesn't care about looks, get a nice pair of shoes, get a nice outfit, and just notice how differently women treat you immediately. They take you more seriously. One thing I've noticed with guys, this is like kind of old mystery stuff, if you will, but it's like, look, if a woman is going to want to get with you, she's going to want to visit whatever you are. Like if you're a video gamey slob and you look like you've been playing video games for the last 18 hours in a row, does the woman want to visit that world? Is that an interesting and women don't want to visit it, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Maybe you're dressed in a suit. Look, a lot of women want to visit that world and find out what it's like, you know, with a guy in a suit. Like that's a world you can visit. Maybe, you know, maybe you're really muscular and that's your thing. Maybe that's the archetype you fulfill, and you wear a short sleeve shirt and you can see your muscles. And women want to visit that. They want to visit fitness guy. Like that's an archetype they want to visit, right? Whatever that archetype is, like clothing is an archetype. It's a very quick way to increase your perceived value. And it's not a cheap thing to increase your perceived value. It's actually a very meaningful thing to make yourself the best version you can make yourself. Why wouldn't you? Do you hate yourself? Like, why wouldn't you be the best version of yourself?
Yeah. I feel like that's like one way that's like, I feel like a guy that's well dressed, it can like take him up at least 2 points.
Easy.
Yeah, like from a 5 to a 7.
Listen, makeup does the same thing for women, and it's like, why not? Like we have this thing available to us, then utilize it.
So you usually get these guys in about 20.
Yeah, 22, 23, something like that.
How long do they typically stay with you?
Well, that really depends, right? So the ones that stay with us for over 18 months, 53% of our salespeople make over 6 figures within 18 months.
Wow.
Yeah, so the ones that make it through 53% are at 6 figures. That's an actual statistic. We can back it up. Like that's in our company, 53% within 18 months. Market leaders in our company, market leader meaning you're about 4 or 5 years in, about $250,000 a year. But not everybody makes it to that stage because you have to be very, very consistent, right? The thing that people struggle with, it's not learning how to talk to people. It's not learning how to present fabric. We're talking about suits. It's not rocket science that we're doing. The thing that people struggle with is the consistency. Is you have to get up and do it every single day, and you have to be on schedule every day, and you have to treat it like it's your lifestyle. And a lot of people realize, there are a lot of people, probably 60% of people realize, hey, maybe I don't want to be working 60, 70 hours a week. Maybe I really do value just having a job at the bank working 9 to 5 and making my $40,000 a year until I die. And so a lot of people choose complacency, which is sad to me, but they're happy. And you know what? Let them be happy. Like it's fine. We're not looking for those people. Like we're looking for the 1%.
And so 50. So half of the people that stay with you over 18 months, they make 6 figures.
Within 18 months. The ones they eventually the others get there too because business tends to compound, right?
And then you help them get married too, in a way. You give them dating advice.
Well, I mean, I help them become more successful, which ultimately increases their pool.
Yeah.
You know, like we've had lots of guys in our company now, while with our company, get married and have families. Lots of guys. Now, I don't sit down with them and say, look, you need to get married and have families. I'm like, if you want to do your own thing, you can do your own thing. But I think, again, we talked about it yesterday, 85% of millionaires are married. 85%.
I can't believe it's that high.
Google it.
No, I believe, I believe you. I'm just surprised it's that high.
I'm not surprised because, again, Here's the thing,
Because
right?
millionaires they tend to be methodical.
Methodical,
where
strategic. There's one other thing is that in order to make money, you have to learn how to control chaos because there's so much chaos. Like you're competing against others, the market forces, the other competitors. Everything is just crazy all the time, right? And you come home to crazy, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You need control in your personal life. You need that bedrock. You need that pillar that keeps you steady and going forward.
Right.
So I never sat down with my guys. I'm like, look, man, you got to get married. That's not what I said. I'm always like, you go be as successful you can possibly be. And over time, they kind of just get to that point where like, hey, I have so much craziness. It would be really nice to have some stability in my personal life.
Can you tell me what you told me? Tell them the story yesterday you said on the show when you could tell the difference between like a quarrelsome wife and a supportive wife based on like the reaction from the suits.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, so whenever I've worked with extremely highly famous celebrities, I'm talking like the so famous that they're like, you know, on TV, like very, very famous guys. And I've worked with these very, very famous guys. Their wives respect them so much, and they're always like, when I deliver a suit, they're like, "This is amazing. You look so good." They're just always, they see their husband the best way they can see their husband. It's not about the suit. But we've had situations, and my salespeople call me about this too sometimes. It's like you deliver to a guy and you realize like maybe he's spending a little more than he should because he's not necessarily at our level. But just what it is, we're a luxury brand. What happens is then the wife's like, "Oh, it's too, like he looks fat, blah, blah, blah." And she starts almost like indirectly criticizing the husband through the suit. And look at how this isn't even, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, it's fine. It's just that you don't like your husband, you know? And it's it's at the point where it's so predictable to us now that we know the outcomes of what's going to happen, that it's like, okay, we know what's going on. And it's funny because now we've seen some of those guys get divorced. We're like, yep, saw that coming, 100%. Like, man, if your wife insults you publicly, it's like, it's done.
Yeah, I thought sometimes when girls come on the show and the things they'll say about their current relationship, I'm just like, girl, what are you?
It's done. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look, respect is like, I tell my wife the same thing. I'm like, I don't crave your love, and I'm very thankful that you love me. I crave your respect. Like, I want to be a man you respect, you know, because I want my kids to also see me as somebody they can respect. I'm not saying that to be selfish. I'm saying that's just what I crave. And I'm not saying that I deserve it for the fact that I exist. I deserve it through my work. I deserve it through my labor. I deserve it for what happens to the community at large, within our company and the community at large when I show up. And that's what I want. Like, I want that respect from my work. And if you don't respect my work, then either my work and the way that my life plan isn't high enough, or you're just not the person that's going to be on this journey. And I don't expect to be unemployed and smoking weed and for you to respect me. That's delusional too, right?
Well, you have such an interesting story coming from literally the Soviet Union to making a multi-million-dollar brand that helps men. Where can people reach out to you if they want to work for you or, you know, have you on their podcast, whatever?
So just LGFG.com. Look at Look Good, Feel Good. It stands. That's when you start a company, you know what you're doing. You just look good, feel good. So we named it, and we trademarked. LGFG is our trademark internationally. LGFG.com. Look good, feel good. LGFG.com. Check out our website. We got some cool stuff there. We also got a cool careers page and lots of videos. And you know, we're not for everyone, but again, we're looking for that person that's like ready to grow up and to make themselves better. And we're very, very passionate. In fact, I'm more passionate. I was telling Real at breakfast this morning. Like, I'm a lot more passionate now about watching other people in our company succeed because I can do it. But to see, you know, I have a guy that made I won't say who he made, for the first time he made $25,000 in a month. It was his first time in his life making $25,000 a month. He bought his mom a vacation. And his mom's friends were like, "Is your son like dealing drugs?" Like, you know, because they can't believe that he's in the suit business. Made $25,000, flies his mom, you know, to a different continent for a beautiful vacation. Like, his mom's a single mom. Felt really good about it. And like, that brings me so much more joy than anything else because now I feel like I'm making an impact. And like, I maybe I'm too young, or maybe this is a pretentious thing to say, but like, legacy and impact feel really damn good. And I really hope more people get to experience that feeling. Like, it feels good.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. Guys, go. This sounds like a great place to work. So I'm like, if you,
I'll kick your ass. I'll kick your ass. The clients will kick your ass.
He's nodding.
It'll kick you. No, I mean, look, it'll kick your ass because it'll put you in your place. Like, you'll learn because a lot of times too, like, if I can say, like, young people come in and they think of themselves like, well, I have a marketing degree, so I'm a professional marketer. It's like, I'll tell you something. So I was interviewing a guy.
I could kill the media company.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I'm interviewing a guy. and he has a master's degree in international relations. And usually people with master's degrees, I turn them down because I think they're delusional. Because I think if you think that like a master's degree in international relations or women's studies is going to make you successful, that is so delusional. And I asked him, so I put him on the spot. I like to challenge people in interviews to see if they can hold their feet, non-delusional. I go, you have a master's degree. I generally don't hire people with master's degrees because you're showing a very academic track mind. And in the real world to succeed, it's not academic. It's just doing. It's not thinking. It's just doing. He goes, yes, but I have a degree in international relations, so I'm an expert in talking to people.
Oh.
And I was just like, no. You know, so and that's a very high level of delusion. Most people have a little bit less than that. But here's the thing. Whatever you think of yourself, the market will tell you exactly what you are. Whatever you think of yourself as a man, women will tell you what you are. Whatever you think of yourself as a woman, men will tell you what you are. And you have to evaluate the correct metrics. If I may, there's a thing that happened yesterday I thought was interesting. Is these girls are like,
Instagram DMs.
Like, I get so many DMs and likes. It's like, you're judging yourself on the wrong criteria.
Yeah.
Like it's like, that is crazy to think that you have value because guys want to sleep with you. Like every guy wants to sleep with girls. It's just like, they just see you as a target. Like what? It's like, you know, it's like a sheep. Oh, I'm so valuable because like lions want to eat me. It's like, yeah, they do.
Oh my, I could go on. It's just like, being in the position I'm in, it's like I've gotten crazy DMs, but I'm not delusional. I'm like, come on.
Right.
You're telling me if that guy is DMing you, he's trying to get, like, it's just.
They don't get it, right? So same thing happens in our company when people come on board. I'm like, look, you have an opinion of yourself and how valuable you are to society, but I'm not going to be the one that decides that. The prospects and clients you call on, they're going to either spend with you, give you revenue, or they're not. You're going to learn very quickly where your true value is. And you're going to have to make an adjustment. And a lot of people, that's a wake up because, you know, you grow up in North America especially, and all society tells you is how special you are, how great you are, how successful you are. And you get out to the real world, nobody cares about your problems. Like prospects are like, I don't give, like, I mean, it's like, do not bring me problems. I don't care. I don't know you and I don't care.
The world, it doesn't owe you understand. Like, even the girl on the show, she kept talking about how I had this horrible background. And I can sympathize. I certainly grew up well. You know, I didn't really have any crazy stories happen to me. But it's like, at the end of the day, nobody knows that when you're walking down the street. So no one cares.
She's going to have a hard time, and she had a hard time now. Imagine her at 60. This is sad.
It's really sad. And it's like, a lot of times people think I'm like being mean, but I'm not even trying to be mean. It's just like, what do you think's on the other side of this? Like, and a lot of times these girls come in and they want to live. And I grew up with the one, like in a 1% family, right? I would say we grew up more upper middle class, you know, lifestyle wise, but it's like, these men would never talk to you. My brothers are making the kind of money. You would never get in the door.
They see you as they actually literally see you as a clown.
Yeah.
Like, that's just a clown, right?
And I'm like, just based on like, even just the way that you take criticism, like they would never talk to you in a million years.
Can I ask you a question? So would you think that would be a good or a bad thing for women if you're a woman, you go up in front of a panel of successful guys and they tell you unfiltered truth, exactly what they think about you? Do you think that would be beneficial for some of them?
Oh my God, that'd be so beneficial.
Like unfiltered, like here's the damn truth.
I would 100% put that up. Like I would totally, I just don't know. Successful guys don't typically want to do.
I don't give a crap, guys. I'll tell you right now, I'm unfiltered. We're not a corporate type of company. We're a sales organization. We're entrepreneurial. Just plug in it right now.
Yeah.
That's why I'm comfortable going on this and telling the truth that I see it, because I'm not afraid of losing. Like I'll fail and it's fine.
Could you put together a panel like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
We could do it.
I got some dudes in my company that are like really attractive and really successful, very rich.
Really?
Yeah, I just went watch shopping with one of my guys. He was buying a $50,000 watch.
Wow.
He's a salesman in our company. So and he's married, got kids. We got guys like that in our company, right? But here, the reason I asked if that would be beneficial for the women, if you go into sales, you're going to very quickly hear that from your clients because they don't know you, they don't owe you anything, and they'll tell you exactly how worthwhile or worthless you are.
Because we could even do that. They go on like short dates with them.
No, they're married. I don't think they'd be cool with that.
Okay. I was thinking like if they were single, just like then after they can give feedback.
What we'd have to do is actually get them on a panel and just ask them very specific questions about their beliefs and then give them direct feedback on those beliefs, you know, combination of how they present themselves and what their beliefs are. Like the lady yesterday, the 39-year-old, she's a nice looking 39-year-old lady, and she might be like a 7. But like when you talk to her and ask her a very specific question about her beliefs, she's a 1. Like just a 1. Like
and that's what it's like. Sometimes it's so sad because it's like these girls will, like some of them, in my eyes, you have a lottery ticket.
Yeah.
Like they're beautiful. Yeah. And I'm just like, oh, you're getting the, like girls would be so excited, like maybe not her, but I've had different examples in my head where I'm like, girls would be so happy to be born looking like you, and then they'll get a tattoo sleeve. they'll be super overweight. It is just like, you were given the lottery ticket in life,
Yeah.
and you're just pissing it away. Why?
Well, and and for guys, and I tell this to the young guys in our company, talk about some of the things we teach. I say, look, as a guy, I don't care what you look like, you're always a 5. But you can become a 9, but you're always a 5. You're always a 5. Like, you just have to treat life like that. Like, I didn't go into my life thinking that I was overtly more attractive to women. I just assumed that women don't know I exist unless I'm doing something meaningful. And that's what I tell guys. I'm like, just assume that nobody knows you exist until you're doing something meaningful. And then those that believe it, they do it. Those that don't believe it, once they start doing something meaningful, they're like, wow, I'm getting so much more attention from... In our company, actually, Jason's our president. I told you, Jason, he's the president of our company, Jason Dow. He's amazing. I think his mom had like 4 or 5 kids with 4 or 5 different guys. That's the home he grew up in.
Wow.
Just like totally dysfunctional. But he's the president of our company. He's been in the business a long time. He's an absolute stud. Like, he's flying to LA right now to meet with like all these celebrities to measure them for our company. He represents us to the celebrity brands, to the celebrity people. And he has this thing. He calls it the 6-figure glow. So we have a guy named Andrew. He runs our Toronto office. He's one of our top sales guys. Andrew, hello. And Andrew was making like $40,000 a year. And Jason went out to recruit him to bring him to our company. And Andrew's like, well, blah, 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 blah. And Jason's like, look, Andrew, I'm just going to give you one thing. And if this comes true, then you can trust me. And if it doesn't come true, you can go do whatever you want. But he was selling copiers and he hated it. Sounds familiar? He hated selling copiers.
Oh, it's the worst job in the world.
So but we brought him in to sell suits. It's the same job. It's just our product is fun and different.
Yeah.
Like, we're not like, what are your page printing needs per month? It's like, we don't ask you. We're like, hey, man.
What do you print per month?
Yeah, we're like, hey, man, how'd you like to buy a $10,000 suit and just show off everybody at your anniversary? It's like, well, show me what you got. It's just a different kind of sale.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So Jason's like, Andrew, I'm going to give you a challenge. I'm going to stay with me 18 months, get to 6 figures in income, and then tell me if the 6-figure glow is true. So what's the 6-figure glow? So Jason has this theory, and this is how he coaches young men. This is his style. He goes, once you start making 6 figures, women see you. You're like, they don't know you, but you'll be walking on the street, and it's like they have truth goggles on. Women can smell status, can't they? And they have these goggles on all the time, and then they just see you're glowing. You're one of the 6-figure glowers. And then like that glow becomes brighter and brighter and brighter. So Andrew, I remember this. He made like $19,000 commission one month. That month put him over $100,000 for the year. Got a girlfriend, beautiful girlfriend, great girl. She's actually super, super cool, and like he always speaks so highly of her. And he called me, and he's just like, dude, this is Andrew. That's how he talks. He's, dude, so yeah, like, man, like the 6-figure glow, it's totally true. So it was just like this realization that like he had the 6-figure glow. So I tell guys, you're a 5, but you have to build yourself. Women are a little bit different. I think from a lot of women, which is really crazy to me, they end up destroying their value more than, they don't even have to do that much in order to have value when they're young. They just have to remain pretty like grounded, but then they just destroy it. And I don't know why.
I mean, I think it's a lot of lack of like fathers in the home, to be honest. I mean, I don't know if you noticed, like all the girls with a more crazy mindset they all basically didn't have dads. Yeah. And it's sad because a lot of those girls go on to repeat the same mistakes and end up like also being a single mother.
Well, that's my mentor. He said, find a girl that respects her father. I mean, I didn't get it at the time, but that probably saved me a lot of heartache.
Yeah, it's... And I also feel like it's important for guys to have a girl that like listens to them, because you just don't want to date a girl that's always arguing with you about every like that's a headache. That's such a headache. My brother's girlfriend, he makes 6 figures. My brother is so smart. He's an engineer, works for a government company. On top of that, he reads more than anyone I know, like on the planet. And he just wrote a book, and I bet you he makes a ton of money, because I don't know anyone else that reads as much as my brother, right? And his girlfriend, or fiance now, I was like, this is how she got the ring. She went to culinary school. She's an engineer. Yeah. And she went to culinary school after work to cook for my brother. Yeah. And it's like, what percent of girls are willing to do that?
Ask him if she still asks him what to cook for dinner, because that's one thing. It's your life. When you're growing, your life becomes so chaotic. My wife doesn't ask, because I'm like, I don't want to tell you what to cook for dinner. Like, I don't want any micro decisions. It's not even I don't want arguments. I don't want to make micro decisions. They're inconsequential decisions to me. And so sometimes I see, like, I've seen my friends get married. Not my friends, people I used to love, I don't know anymore, but like, and they would be like so involved in the micro decisions of their wedding. I'm like, your marriage is going to fall apart. Why? Because your fiance, your wife, whatever, is making you go through the tenuous like exercise of like putting time and energy into the micro decisions of the wedding cards.
And I also
That is not a woman that's behind you.
And I also feel like you don't want a girl that's always keeping score of like all the stuff she does, all the stuff.
Are you kidding me? We talked about this yesterday.
Yeah, because it's just like a headache to him, you know.
That exists. That actually happens still. That's crazy.
No, yeah,
because
that's why when you hear the stuff on the show and the girl's like, oh, I give so many chances, like to me, that's you saying I'm always gonna keep score. Yeah, because you don't think he's giving you chances. What are you, God?
So they don't think they're replaceable, which is a bad thing to say, but like we're all replaceable.
No,
I'm replaceable. Like we're all replaceable.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like it's like these girls it's like there's never any humility. Like what did I do? You know. And that's what I hate it when girls are like, well, I gave him so many chances. I'm like, that's just either you choose bums. Yeah. That's either translation for you choose bums or you don't date men, like you choose men that don't really like you.
You know, it was interesting yesterday. The girls were like, "Oh, you know, all these millionaires that I meet, they're all cheaters." And I and you ask how many millionaires do you know? They're like 2, which they probably don't know any. But like
I know, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, cap.
So I looked at the statistics, and about 1/3 of millionaires, statistically speaking, based on the best data from February 2023 this year, 1/3 of millionaires cheat. 1 out of 3, which is higher than non-millionaires.
The one I saw was 50%.
50% within the chances of somebody cheating within a relationship is 50%.
Oh, okay. It's marriage. It's 1 out of 3.
Yeah, because women's propensity to cheat goes down as their wealth goes up in a marriage, which means the husband's making more money. The woman's less likely to cheat. Why? Because the hypergamy becomes harder because women cheat for hypergamous reasons, whereas men's propensity goes up because opportunities become higher. So women, so that makes sense. And I'm like, okay, so 2 out of 3 millionaires wouldn't cheat. Why aren't they picking you? That's the real question, right? It's like, why aren't they picking you? Because the other guys are. Why are the other guys picking you? That's interesting.
Yeah, and I'm just a big believer in accountability. I feel like everything in life's your own fault.
100%.
And I just cannot stand when it's everyone else's fault.
I would say it's not your fault, it's your responsibility. Remember that difference, right? Like if you're 15 and your dad leaves the family, that's not your fault. Like you can't be responsible for that action as a child. But the responsibility of dealing with the fallout after that, I mean, that girl was 39. She's like, I'm on a journey. I'm like, your journey's over, man. You're 39 years old and you haven't like realized that you're doing stupid things with your life. You know?
Yeah, and it's 39. That's why when they're like, oh, I'm going to be a millionaire. And I'm just like,
nope.
I grew up around millionaires. Like, and I'm like, I'm telling you, talking to you, you're not.
No.
You don't have the energy. Like, you can just tell. Like, when I talk to you, I can just tell you're a high energy person. Like,
see, she knows the glow. See, I told you guys, women know the glow.
No, but it's not even, like, I bet you had that energy when you were younger, too. It's like... You don't think?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have recognized the problem.
You just seem like the type of guy that can just like work, and you just seem passionate about what you're doing. But most of
the successful people, I think all of the successful people, you're like that. You're working this is a weekend, this is Easter, and you're working and you're working until midnight tonight.
Yeah. Well, to me, no, I'm not. I don't have a show tonight, so I'm not.
The other guy, Ken, this year.
Yeah. But to me, it's just fun. Like I do something I love. Like it's funny because a lot of times I get accused in the space of like doing it for money, and I'm like, it's funny because I'm just not motivated by money
it's actually so funny you say that. So I came back to my office, and one of the guys in my office was like, what's pro like in real life? I'm like, because people want to know if you're playing a character. And this is something I get a lot working with people that are sort of known, and you're starting to get a little bit known in the social space.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Jordan Peterson, exactly the same in person as on camera. There is absolutely no character that he's playing. He is exactly what you see. His mannerisms, like he's like, he'll do that, like exactly the same. Exactly the same.
Yeah.
Like off camera, you're exactly the same. There's no fakeness here. Like I'm not playing a character either. Like successful people aren't playing characters. They just they live their life to the best of their ability. And accountability. That's it.
Yeah, and just for me, I just enjoy making cool. I just like projects. Like I'm doing this documentary on the court system here, and I talk about it all the time. No, it's really sad.
It is sad.
It's so like I honestly, what did I tear up? I tear up like every interview I do it for.
I need to introduce you to my friend. He's a men's right advocate, full-time lawyer, full-time men's rights advocate.
I would love to have him.
His story will absolutely crush your soul. What he had to go through, he's got kids. He'll tell you he's got kids that he hasn't seen in like 10, 15 years. He hasn't seen them since they were 4 or 5 years old, and he doesn't know his own kids. And he left his job as a corporate lawyer to become a full-time men's rights advocate. And his story is insane. And he's helped me with some projects in Australia because we became viral in Australia over a story that kind of put us into international news as a tailoring company. And he called me up. He's like, man, I want to talk to you because I love what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. And then I got to know the guy. He was the one that actually introduced me to some people I ended up working with later, like some famous people. But I would just sit and just feel like this heaviness in my chest over what his ex-wife did to him. He got exonerated fully for everything, but obviously there were accusations that were strategically placed in order to undermine his divorce settlement. And it was so evil, so duplicitous. I couldn't believe that existed. I just felt like, anyways, you should talk to him.
I would love to have him on. It made me realize, I never had sympathy for homeless people. I never, because in my head, I have a couple relatives that ended up homeless.
Yeah.
And I can 100% say that they're homeless because of their poor life choices.
Of course.
And my one of them is an aunt of mine. And the reason that she's homeless is because she's robbed every single family member that she stayed with us. She robbed. It's just like, it's never big stuff, but it's just like, no, you don't want a thief in your house. Yeah. So now she ends up on the street. And so when she's on the street, I don't feel bad. But
she's on her journey.
We've been hearing that for 20 years.
By the way, I publicly agree with you.
Yeah,
I think in this society today.
But until I started talking to a guy on my show or for this documentary that is homeless, and I found out he was divorced, right? And she took all of the house that he still had to pay for because it was all in his name. He had to pay over $1,500 a month because he had good money. He then lost his job because he was so stressed out and he was working in electric.
The payments remained. He couldn't keep up, of course.
Correct. And then on top of that, he had abuse allegations.
Jesus, so
and he hasn't seen his kids.
Blocked him from other jobs.
He hasn't seen him kids in over a year. How could he not be homeless? I can't even think of how, and then that's where men get zeroed out and commit suicide. And I was like, if I was in that position,
Do you understand now why I tell the young guys in our company that are single to sleep with as many women as they possibly can?
Yeah, because
now they can recognize those signs. See, that guy's problem wasn't that he's a bad guy. That guy's problem was that he was bad with women, because a man that's good with women wouldn't have chosen that woman because he would have seen some of the signs.
Yeah, well,
100%.
He was saying that she was from a Muslim background, a more traditional background.
Again, but is he a good judge of that? Clearly not. The results matter. I feel bad for the guy. I mean, obviously he got taken advantage of by some form of psychopath or narcissist. That happens all the time, right? But if you are not good at recognizing those signs, when you were in sales, you probably had to learn to recognize when somebody was not the decision maker, but they were pretending to be.
Yeah.
And that's very frustrating. Or somebody that told you they had the budget, but clearly they couldn't afford you. But they had a lot of time for somebody that should have a budget, and then you realize they don't have the budget.
That's what you realize when the meetings are too long with them. They're never gonna buy.
Of course, they're never. Right? So you learn.
Yeah, right.
Voila, you recognize a pattern, right? Now imagine for a lot of guys that don't have that sort of access to women, they don't know what they're dealing with. They're in that meeting for a year thinking the prospect's gonna buy. They're not gonna buy. So they are partially responsible for the fact that they weren't educated to be self-serving enough. Because if they were, they would have gone through a few women and then said, hey, you know what? There's something that's different here, and I don't like it. So he made some concessions early in that relationship. He acquiesced a little bit too much, and it led to that. And that's exactly what happened. So, guys, if you're listening to this, before I started, while I started in sales, one of the things I also did at that time, and this was now early 2000s, nobody was doing this yet. It's completely considered uncouth now, whatever it is. But back then it was a new thing, is I would approach girls on the street and ask for their numbers. People thought it was insane. Now, you see that and it's probably looked down upon in some circles. Some people are like, hey, why did I do it? Because I wanted to learn how to be able to multiply my options. I saw that as a positive thing. I got rejected a shit ton. There was a cute girl that lived in my building in Vancouver. I was living in Vancouver at the time, 19th floor. And I just saw that she would have these other cute girls come over to her house. She was a neighbor, and I didn't know who she was. I just went and knocked on her door. I'm like, hey, I wanted to introduce myself. I live next door. I thought you guys were having some parties, I kind of want to be a part of that. How are you? I look like a total doofus kind of thing. She's just like, what? You're just knocking on doors, meeting girls? Pretty much, But you know what? But again, the average millionaire goes broke 3.5 times.
Right.
So what are we not afraid of? We're not afraid of failure. We're not afraid of being resilient and getting back up and trying again. And I tell guys, you don't need money to meet girls. Get good with women because it'll be a skill for you in life when you have to not have to. When you choose to choose a wife, if that's the direction that you go,
Right.
you want to be educated before you make that choice.
Right. Well, and you don't know what's on the other side of that door. It could be your wife. I mean, it wasn't, but you never
No,
know.
just listen. Like the core of it is the same thing, and for girls as well, man. It's like if you're a woman, you know, and you're a bad judge of character, you're gonna have a tough life. It's harder for women to date than men. I really believe that. Like I know some people say this, and it's like no, because men, if they're smart, they're looking at they're maximizing their value, and they're looking at a woman's past. Now, women will try to hide their past, but the past is a lot easier to predict than the future. Right? It's like I can look like one of our guys right now. We're just laughing about. He's dating this girl, and we're all looking like, oh no, and he doesn't see it. He doesn't see it.
Yeah.
But it's like, but here's the thing: we can see it because we understand what it says about the past. But for a woman to look at a man's future requires to be a good judge of character. That's hard, especially if you don't have good role models, male role models in your life to be that sort of ideal
Right.
to pursue, you know?
And a lot of times, like, we want the roller coaster, but the guys that, like, you should be with are more methodical, as you were saying.
Well, you have to, you know, if you realize that too late and you're 32 by the time you realize it, you're going to have a tough life.
Yeah.
Like you should realize, you should definitely get your heart crushed, both as a man or as a woman. You should go through rejection and heartbreak because that's part of the human experience. Like if you're living to mitigate against heartbreak, you're gonna have a very bad life also. So it's not about reducing.
That's the other thing we talk about is you can't go into stuff scared because like shit won't work out.
Yeah.
It's because like that's like, oh, he might leave you high and dry if you give it like. If you give up your career or you have kids or whatever, it's like, yeah, he might.
It's like, look, fail, but then don't make the same mistake twice. Like you should fail, you should go out and find different ways. Like it's not that you're succeeding too little, it's that you're failing too little.
Yeah.
And then of course the girl yesterday, she fails a lot, but then she keeps doing the same thing. It's like fail and then take corrective action, iterate to perfection.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Well, we do have another interview coming up, so I have to get this.
Thank you.
But you are so interesting. The fans love you, so we're definitely going to have you back. Thank you so much for coming on.
Hello, fans. I love you.
Tell them again where to find you.
LGFG.com, guys. Look good, feel good. LGFG.com. We're a custom clothing suit, high-end suit company, but what we're looking for are those young men and women that are looking to build a career internationally. We have a guy that started with us in Europe. He just moved to Hong Kong. Now works out of our Hong Kong office. We had a girl that started with us in Australia, had a dream of working in Dubai. She now runs our Dubai office. We're international. We're growing. And we like kicking ass. And if you like that, LGFG.com.
Sounds like such a cool place to work. Guys, like the video on your way out. Subscribe to the channel. Ring that notification bell. Make sure, stay tuned because he's going to do a wife school episode with me where we show we're going to show the suit, the 1950s suit. And we're going to go through the fashions. That'll be good. Like the video on your way out, and we'll talk to you next time.